Thanks very much. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody for coming, and if I don't get to it at the end of the meeting, I'd like to wish you all happy holidays and Merry Christmas and all the best in 2019. I'd like to thank you all for coming again, and thanks to the senior scene and Frank and his group for the use of this facility. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 land and the traditional lands of the Métis people. I will do introductions around the table, starting with Irwin.
Good evening, Irwin Kump is my name, and being as tomorrow is Ugly Sweater Day, I decided to wear my ugly sweater, and it's not red.
He's ahead of his time.
I think it looks lovely. Hello, my name is Graham Randall, and I'm from Wanasee.
And I'm Penny McMorris.
Raymond Morrow, CAO.
Steve Axworthy. And Mike Bartmanovich. Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, thanks very much. We do have a committee of the whole tonight, so I'm going to, I guess I have a motion here for that. I'll just advise you that we will go into the boardroom, but we will leave our camera on so that way it's only one video for the people to watch instead of it going off and coming back on, but we will turn off the sound. So when you talk about us, it won't be on the video. Whereas Section 152 of the Municipal Act allows a council to close a meeting to the public, therefore be it resolved that council dissolve to a committee of the whole to discuss personnel and legal issues. And further be it resolved that all matters discussed remain confidential. May I have a moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Whereas Section 152 of the Municipal Act allows a council to close a meeting to the public, therefore be it resolved that council dissolves to a committee of the whole to discuss personnel and legal issues. Further be it resolved, all matters discussed remain confidential. All in favor? Carried. So thank you very much, and we hope to be back within 15 to 20 minutes max. So sing, dance, have a cup of coffee. cameras back on? All right, thanks, everybody. We are back. Be it resolved that the RM of Victoria Beach now moves into a regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? All right, moved by Councillor Bartmanovich, seconded by Councillor Axworthy. Be it resolved, the Council of RM of Victoria Beach now moves into regular meeting of council. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We will go down to the adoption of the agenda. Any additions or? Steve?
I just wanted to bring up an issue with the trail system, which was just for some grant money that's available.
All right. We'll put that under other business. Any other additions?
Penny, I have
Erwin?
an update on that Manitoba tourism meeting I attended, and also a very brief update on Albert Beach development from Mitch.
Thanks, Erwin. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted with the following addition: Trail System Update, Manitoba Tourism Update, Albert Beach Proposed Development. May I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you. Moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Be it resolved the agenda be adopted with the following additions: Trail System, Manitoba Tourism, Albert Beach Proposed Development. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And the minutes of the December 4th, 2018 regular meeting of council. Be it resolved that the minutes of the December 4th, 2018 regular meeting be adopted as presented. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Be it resolved the minutes of the December 4th, 2018 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. All those in favor? Thank you. Carried. And moving on to our delegation this evening, Miss Kelly Murray from the Allard Library. And I will get out of the way so that I don't get blinded by your presentation.
Let's go this way and we'll move down.
I can just, all right,
Join the
all right.
crowd.
I could join the crowd.
It's up to you.
I think I'll join the crowd so that I'm not in the way.
Okay.
No, I think I'm fine. I had it up and running, and I'm just wondering where it's gone to right now. There we go. Okay, so because you're recording this, you've already announced who I am. I feel like I should be speaking to everybody else. Sorry. I'm here, as I have been with the other two municipalities, to talk to you about a request from the library. And what we're asking for is 25 cents per capita per year for the next 4 years. You've got a short form on your at the front of your booklet as opposed to what I showed up front. I'm not going to go through every pointed detail for it for you, but I will leave it for you to chew on later on when you're looking at making your budget. So I'm just going to hit some highlights every once in a while throughout it. So 48% of Canadian adults have low literacy skills below high school equivalency, up from 42% just 3 years ago. That's a big one. Parents' reading habits play a large role in determining how often kids read. 57% of kids who are frequent readers have parents who read 5 to 7 days per week to them. There is more than just the fact that we have low literacy skills and low numeracy skills to take into effect. Thank you, Doug. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're okay now.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So many things to
And the sad part is I have no French in me. Step to the right? Okay. Is that better, guys? Thank you. I'm seeing the waving of the arms in the back there. So besides that, you have intergenerational costs. So what that means is if a parent or grandparent had low literacy skills, it's more likely that their children and grandchildren will as well, because they're repeating those same habits. They're not out doing the different things that they need to be in an area where they can get a better literacy habits. So that, in effect, affects us socially and the costs that go with that, because then you have people on unemployment more, you have people that are on different programs that, and in our criminal system. So you've got to be cognizant of the effects that it has besides your everyday low literacy, what people would think for that. I give you a short breakdown, broken down by the wards, of the percentages here, and it shows you how much is being used based on each municipality, based on each ward, as well as libraries, staff, and non-residents. So at the top, if I go here, you'll see the e-books for Victoria Beach. And then if I go down, I'm going to find Vic Beach. Vicki will probably find it before I do. 8 o'clock? There you go. So it gives you an idea overall out of everybody where we're at. The circulation without boundaries shows that a total of Vic Beach is 9%. It doesn't break down the e-books per group. It combines it. About 10 years ago, the school system developed the no failure policies. And what that does is it's taken away from the teachers the ability to fail students from kindergarten to grade 8. And then at grade 9, they realize the real world, and things are totally different. It also puts the parents in the position of wanting to stay your friend and not be your parent and look for the best interest for your child. So that has an effect on things as well. Okay, on this, I'm going to show you with the mouse. This is the column for Manitoba right here. And we are ranked 9th out of 10 provinces in literacy and numeracy. Sorry guys, I didn't do anything on that. There it is, it's back. So to give you an idea, this shows D's. And this is at the grade 7 level. And these are kids that are needing to go into high school shortly. So we've got to be looking at what we can do as outside sources of support to be able to help those children get to where they need to, because that's our workforce in the future. Yep. Okay. Resume slideshow. There we go. I'm going to go back one. There we go. So what this does is it shows if your child is reading 20 minutes a night, they are in the 90th percentile. If they are not, that decreases drastically. If they're only reading about a minute a day, which means they're scanning something, They're in the 10th percentile for production, in school, in life. So last year, we took it upon ourselves, in talking with other libraries and seeing what they were doing and what we could do with ours, we changed our summer reading program. And you'll see the numbers there for 2016, 2017, 2018 for the circulation and how much it's increased as of last year. We put a challenge out over an 8-week period for children to read 150 minutes per week. We had people coming from Vic Beach doing this that were here just for the summer. And we also were only reaching kids up to the age of about 10 or 12. The kids were up to 18 for this. So it made a sizable difference, and we had a number of them. The max, or the minimum, was 5,160 minutes over the summer. We had some hit 15,000. So just for an idea where they're prepared for when they go back to school. There's no backsliding from being away from school for the past 2 years. 2 months, thank you. So then we give you a breakdown of the different things that we do at the library, from community events to programs to displays, exhibits, in-house activities. It gives you an idea of the attendance, our revenue, our expense, and any profit or loss. I just give you a snapshot of some of the programs that we do. And it was interesting, I was just talking with some of the people here today regarding the Technology for Seniors programs and how so many of our seniors are feeling lost with the advancement of technology nowadays. And that we have developed a program at our library that is 12 weeks long. We ran it 3 times now. So I'm hoping that enough of you will come, and we'll set up one for the Victoria Beach people as well. Large community events. We actually closed down our Vic Beach branch that day, and the staff come and assist us with that. It's a free event where we encourage improvement of health. Now, it can be physical health, mental health, emotional health, or spiritual health. There are free spa sessions where people have donated their time, and so they can get hand massages, head massages, back massages, feet massages. It all depends on what we're able to line up for people at that time. There's sometimes it's foot care, sometimes there's hair, etc. And I'm not going to go into big things. We also have presentations. Last year we had one on grief, considering the things that were happening in the communities. We felt that that was a big thing to be talked about. This year it's going to be on sexual abuse. There's individual interactive presentations where we're reaching out to people and giving them an idea. There's blood sugar testing, there's blood pressure testing. Everything is free unless they want to buy a ticket, and there's vendors there, There's vendors there if they want to purchase something that would be of interest to them as well. The Walk Run for Literacy we started 5 years ago, and what it is, it's created for our patrons to support the library. They wanted us to be open extra hours. Our budget didn't allow for that. So what we started was a 2.5 or 5K run, walk run. And from there, they would raise funds. So it was a minimum dollar value, depending on the other, and then we put out some carrots for them to reach more. The last 2 years we've had extra where we've been able to put it in reserves. So if we have a short year, we're able to tap into that. But that allows Victoria Beach to be open an extra hour a week and Allard to be open an extra hour and a half a week. The Allard just celebrated its 35th anniversary this year. And things that we've accomplished and improved, and it just gives you an idea. We talked about the Technology for Seniors. We're on our second strategic plan, which I can't say enough about. I think they're very effective. It puts your board and your staff working together to accomplish a mutual goal. And then we've also accomplished our accessibility changes. Partnerships, there's a list there. I'm not going to go through it. Other revenues. This is over and above municipal and provincial funding that we are able to, or have been able to tap into over the past 6-7 years. I've only shown you the last 3 there. It gives you an idea how we're able to do certain things with our budget because we beg and plead for money. Donations in kind. It's hours based on a value of at least minimum wage. If, let's say for instance, the masseuse would be more, it wouldn't be minimum wage. We take into account that amount of time and give it a dollar value. And then we're able to put that in our annual report and our grants for them to be able to see the value of what the community gives back to the library. Economic impact. In the end of 2015, after all the numbers had come in, we created an economic impact for January 2016. I believe that was the last time I did a presentation to the council in Winnipeg. And so my board determined that there wouldn't have been enough of a significant change for me to just keep the numbers that we used there. So for every dollar invested in the library, the residents of the 3 municipalities receive $5.82 back in value based on what's being put out there for the public to be able to use. Our return on investment is 482%. Just gives you an idea. And I have to thank Helmut. He was the person that told us and showed us about this when he went on a visit to a library in Ontario. And then I was able to access their formulas to be able to implement this and do that way. Without that, we wouldn't have done this. And we are the only library in Manitoba that has done this. Appeal to the province. We started in 2015 because the rate from the province has not changed since 2004. Petition was signed and sent around. We've had different municipalities and our library board have sent in letters, and it's been something that we've done across the province. So multiple libraries and their boards and their municipalities are sending in letters. And we did a review as well in 2017, and we were supposed to receive the results at the end of August 2017, and we still have not received them, and we're not certain that we will. They're saying that the results are too negative on the province's side, and based on their support of libraries. So the municipal per capita increases. We've received 25 cents per year as an increase from Victoria Beach and the town every year since I did the presentation in 2016, and very much appreciated. Alexander, after the census, reduced their amount, so now all 3 municipalities are paying the same per capita. I just gave you a comparison and tried to do it apples to apples as much as possible. The other 2 libraries I've compared to have also got 2 branches, and they have other municipalities supporting them, 2, like we do. And it gives you an idea, our funding support is at 41%, and theirs is at 44 and 49, and our population is higher. Just to give you an idea of how that works and what they're receiving as opposed to what we're receiving and where we're at. Now, when I did this presentation in January 2016, we were, the provincial median was 46%. We were at 36%, and our goal was to get to 42%. Excuse me. We're now at 41%, which I'm really happy with, but along with us increasing, so did everybody else. So now the provincial median, and I've got to find my piece there. I feel like I've skipped a page. No, I missed a page. I went ahead a page. The provincial median now is at 54%. So we are still well below what other libraries are, and median is not the high end. That's the middle, just if anybody's unclear on that. So taking into consideration the annual cost of living increases between 2 and 3%, the ask of 25 cents is at 2%, and we are hoping that you will consider that when you are doing your budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I will try to quietly get out of your hair. The presentation for PowerPoint, no. Right now I'm in the midst of trying to get it bilingual. And I'm on the final steps of that. So hopefully we can do that. Is there any questions? I didn't ask. I'm sorry, is there any questions?
I was just waiting for council to get settled back to see if there were any, so you can have a seat if you want to.
If I can just make a comment, I was asked to sit on the library board, and it was a task that I wasn't quite sure whether I was going to get overwhelmed or underexcited, but I was, having attended several meetings, I'm really impressed with the amount of community involvement that the library provides, both in terms of in the Pine Falls, St. George's area, but also within our own area. It's very encouraging to see that the uptake. One of the challenges that Vic Beach has is we have about 500 permanent residents, and that's on which the municipal levy is based. But summertime, we are up to 10,000 people, so it kind of throws us out of balance. It may look like our contribution is relatively small, but when you look at the concentrated services that are provided in the summertime, they do a great job with the very limited funding that is being provided. I think, to summarize, the ask here is about $400 more per year. And I believe the ask is, we're looking for, the library board is looking for a commitment that we will put through a 25% increase for the next 4 years, so that the library board can have a more stable funding platform on which to go forward.
Based on your permanent residency, it actually works out to $100 per year for 4 years, total of $400.
Thank you for correcting my math. As you can see, it's a very minor ask, and we do receive some tremendous benefits for it.
I agree. Anyone else?
I was just wondering if, yes, for me, by the way. But I don't know what they're called. I'm just trying to find them right now. But there's those, they sort of look like mailboxes where you put a book in and you take a book out, sort of like the old penny system. I'm just wondering if there's any, if you were planning on doing any expansion with that type of a system, because I've seen a few of them. I don't know if that's private or if that's done through a library. It was just something that I wanted to know while you were here.
It's done both ways. I've seen libraries organize it. Stonewall does it for one, and then I've seen private groups do it. The hard part with that is you're looking at you're not able to track circulation, so your statistics are not there. You're having to deal with simply books that are not part of your circulation anymore. So it provides a service for people to access, but it doesn't provide support for your library.
Okay. And then the next thing is that I like the idea of the reading club. I think that's really beneficial. Is there any way that we could do a challenge this summer for students? And just as an idea for council, while we have the library delegation here, that perhaps we might be able to put up some money for a grant for a student who reads the most amount of books. I'm not sure how we would be able to understand how we would know if they'd actually completed a book. I mean, I'm sure that you would have some ideas. But
we have a super reader prize right now, but it's across all 3 municipalities. So if you're wanting to set something up specifically to just Vic Beach, then it would need to be probably on your website at the very least. And I don't know if you guys have any social media ways to reach them to show that it would be just that. So that's something that council will have to determine.
Okay,
how you want to approach that.
And just the last thing is just because I think that you do add an extremely valuable service to the RM, that I would like to see the library just more advertised on the website, because I think there's something up right now, but it's small and it's sort of hidden on there. But if we could advertise a little bit more properly, but that could be something for the
I
new
could
year.
speak to that. There are plans in the works now to provide some signage on either side of the highway, pointing out the fact that there is a library in this building. And that hopefully will be up next spring.
Yes, if it gets approved by the province.
Okay, any further questions for Kelly? Okay, Kelly, do you have anything further?
Nope.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just going to unplug.
A thank you to Stuart Jusda for being part of the library board as well.
All right, thank you again, Kelly. We're going to move on, if you don't mind, to our committee reports, starting with Public Works.
That will be moi. Winter. Fortunately, our staff are being kept busy. Currently, they're working on 2 trucks that are, one truck that was starting to get very close to end of life, the old recycling truck, the Ram that we all see up and down the road all summer long. And we have a new truck to be added. It was a donated Ford F-250 Super Duty diesel, which will now take the place of the old Ram and continue with the hauling of the recycling year-round. And the Ram will be relocated to additional plowing duties. Speaking of plowing, here's a segue for you. Plows and sanders are working. I've seen some sanding, not much plowing yet, but and I guess if we get more snow, we'll get more plowing, but I kind of like it the way it is right now. In between plows and sands, the equipment is being maintained. We've got a 5-ton truck and a heavy-duty trailer that were recently safetied. Thanks to the Public Works guys for keeping the equipment in service. Our garbage and recycling continues, of course. Our e-waste station was recently emptied. All content shipped to Selkirk for processing. There's also a large amount of brush and deadfall that was hauled to the gravel pit and burned. This is a very cost-effective solution, as hauling time and costs have been greatly reduced with reducing this fire hazard from around the municipality and just burning it locally, which, by the way, is what would have happened to it had we hauled it to the dump. It would be burned anyway. During the quieter time, staff's concentrating on catching up on welding and body repairs to pieces of equipment in the RM. And I'm pleased to announce that thanks to the work of Public Works and our water guys and some local folks, that the tap to the fire hall is now once again spouting potable water as of Friday. And speaking of the water plant, we're basically in maintenance mode right now. The Albert Beach Pump House required 2 new heaters, one to replace a heater that had failed and another one to keep on site as a backup heater. And finally, under the Public Works umbrella, the administration position for here in Victoria Beach. We received a tremendous pool of applications. We went through some very difficult decisions, but have selected 3 candidates for interviews. Those interviews will be conducted this Friday here at the beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finance, Irwin? You need a mic, Irwin.
I've reviewed the financial reports which were prepared on December 13th, and I'd like to make the following comments. Our cash and receivable balance stands at $886,000. That's down $73,000 from last year. Included in that receivable is an amount of $139,000, which is owed to the municipality by the Victoria Beach and Albert Beach water utilities. Remember, these are complete separate entities. We're concerned that the current position with respect to the water utilities is uncertain, and it may be some time before that receivable can be repaid. We still have $309,000 outstanding in unpaid taxes. That's up $43,000 from last year, or a 16% increase. Folks are slow to pay out there, and our staff are currently working on sending out letters to remind people of the importance to pay on time and the fact that there are penalties assessed for late payments. As of December 13th, 2018, the municipality is still operating with a small current year operating surplus of $23,000. I'm projecting that once all of the December 31st, 2018 year-end expenses and revenues are in, we will likely have a small deficit. But it's much smaller than we had expected it would be, and I'm very proud of the fact that our CEO and all of the staff have worked very hard to contain expenditures. As for the Victoria Beach water utility, unfortunately, it has a current operating deficit of $92,500. That's 62% of revenue. And that is the reason why there's a bylaw being proposed which will result in the necessary rate increases to balance the budget. We cannot operate that utility on a deficit. With respect to the Albert Beach Water Utility, we're running a small deficit there of $6,700, and that amounts to 51% of our revenue. So there's some work to be done there. Going forward, our CAO, myself, and our council colleagues will soon be starting the budget planning process for 2019. It's going to be a challenge, but we're all up for the task, and we will get it done and work on a financial plan which will restore financial stability to our municipality. Thank you.
Thanks, Erwin. Moving on to protective services. Steve?
For the protective services, we have seen a rise since we're approaching the end of the year. We have seen a rise in the amount of calls that have been going out. There has been an additional 233 calls this year versus last year. The primary affected areas were public relations, which is very positive. Our police are getting out there more to try to get the good word out. There was an additional 12 Highway Traffic Act violations, and there was also an additional 20 parking violations. I'd also like to note that this does not include the amount of police-driven calls, which is going to be changing hopefully next year. It's an initiative that's being put forward by our police services. So currently, by saying that there were 1,364 calls this year so far, that only includes the ones that our police services are phoned to go to. That doesn't include things such as stopping a speeder or other police intervention. So that will be changing. That statistic will be changing next year, but I believe they'll probably be divided. Gary? Yes. So those will be divided out. And for the total number of police calls in November, it was 22. In terms of fire, there were 4 calls in the RM of Alexander. All of the calls were medical in nature. There were also 2 calls in Victoria Beach where fire was where a structure was on fire. And then there were also a couple of trees that were sort of lobbed off to the side. Other than that, that's pretty much about it for protective services.
Thank you. Special events, I don't have anything new to report at this time, so golf course is sort of put to bed, but Mike, do you have something to say?
I'm afraid play has been suspended due to inclement weather. But Carl and I have sat down and we have some things that we'll be bringing to bear when it comes to putting together the budget next year.
Thank you. Municipal buildings, Graham?
Not much activity this time of year. Just a few remarks on municipal buildings. We're continuing to weigh the merits of different designs for a permanent toilet washroom facility at the Pier Point. And also it was brought to our attention that in the Moonlight Inn, the re-roofing job caused a certain amount of attic debris to fall down and make a bit of a mess. I'm talking to the roofer, and we will be attending to that and cleaning that up in the spring as soon as the weather moderates. And Mike and I have a list of other odds and ends within the Moonlight Inn that need to be attended to. And that's all I have to report on municipal buildings for the moment.
Thank you very much. Nothing to report on the doctor. That is, pardon me? Communications, Mike or Steve?
In terms of communications, I just wanted to let anybody from the heads of the associations know that I haven't forgotten that we were looking to get the associations a page on our website, so then everybody can have one place to go to for all the information within the municipality. That will be happening after, hopefully, as long as everybody's in agreement to pass a resolution to do so. I think it'd be a very positive step for the RM, because in that way, it doesn't matter which association you belong to, you have one place that you can go to and get all the information in terms of meeting minutes or events in your local areas. Yeah, the other thing is actually more of an in-camera thing. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
All right. The gate.
The gate. Not much happening at the gate, as you may have noticed. We are, however, in hot pursuit of personnel to staff the gate for the summertime. We have a few applicants who we're following up with. It's mentioned on our website. We're continuing to take applications for gate personnel, and we hope to assemble a list to enable us to begin interviews early in January. That's it for the gate.
Thank you. Building inspector?
That'll be me again with the report submitted by Curtis. Curtis, bless his hearts, he submits his reports somewhat early. His report is submitted towards the beginning of the month. Obviously, he can't submit a December report until the month is over. He's reported to us, and he does a nice job of reporting one new dwelling, one addition, one repair, value of permits, $92,000 and change, permit fees, which is what counts for us, $1,225. Curtis is quite active in working with us on a number of other issues as far as shoreline structures, and he's helping us to review and get a little closer to what should and what should not be allowed along the shoreline. We're a long ways from that yet, but we are working on it. So I thank Curtis for his report.
Thank you. Raymond, do you have anything? All right. Heritage, Steve, anything?
We did have our heritage meeting, and we all received a list of questions that we were going to be bringing to individual members of the municipality to ask them and start bringing up some historical information. We were also looking to get some access to some of the documentation that we have in the office, because there's that treasure trove that's just sitting there with all the information on all the different buildings and everything that ever was in the RM. Is it okay if I relate this over to Trails for 1 second? It would be a heritage issue.
Sure.
Okay. One of the things that I sent out in the last 24 hours, and this will come up when we talk about the trails more specifically, is that our trail systems don't have proper names. So we were looking at naming our trails, and one of the things I think can tie in with the heritage is trying to name them after people who have been of real note either in the current community or in the past community. So I was looking at trying to find the names of our sort of forefathers and mothers and see if we can name some of the trails after them, and see if there's anybody possibly in recent standing that would dictate name a trail after. So yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Moving on to accessibility, I'd just like to update that I have discussed getting an accessibility committee together again in 2019 with the previous chair of the committee, and to continue the work that's necessary to ensure that our RM is aware of and plans for and is in compliance with the provincially mandated accessibility standards. And both Councillors Kumka and Axworthy have expressed an interest in being involved in that committee, which I welcome and thank them for. So we'll move on that hopefully in the new year. And Erwin, I think you had tourism and Albert Beach development.
On November 22nd at Grand Marais, Tourism Manitoba hosted an event where they brought together the three municipalities, Alexander, St. Clements, and Victoria Beach, various development agencies in the area, and a number of local businesses. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss what could be done to improve or increase the tourism activities in the Eastman area. The event was hosted, as I said, by Tourism Manitoba, and their CEO Colin Ferguson was in attendance. There was an active discussion on problems facing the expansion of tourism, including the commercial fishing, how it's killing the sport fishing activity, some real concerns about the safety of our highway north of the casino where it stops being twinned, and zebra mussels are obviously a big issue. In the end, I had to leave a little bit early, but I had some discussions afterwards. There was a movement to try and organize a tri-council initiative between St. Clements, Victoria Beach, and Alexander to put forward a common position with respect to increasing tourism. Quite frankly, I don't think Victoria Beach has much interest in increasing tourism. We know we do not have the infrastructure. We don't have the inclination. We don't have the support services, public facilities. And, you know, much as I am a free enterpriser, I can't see Vic Beach getting too excited about that. So my recommendation would be not to participate.
Okay, thank you. I did.
Run me out of town.
No, I did have a conversation with one of the ladies from, not Tourism Manitoba, but the other one, Eastman Tourism. And after our conversation and how I explained what our community is like, I said we were unique and explained the infrastructure that we do not have. And the fact that you can't even park on any of our streets, roads, boulevards, lanes, or avenues. So she agreed that yes, we don't really have infrastructure or tourism in our blood perhaps, but that we do welcome people coming up for the day, but we just don't have a lot of services to provide to them. So.
I mean, like, we already have a decent amount of tourism as is, with everybody coming over and renting apartments. It's not that we don't have a tourism industry. We do. It's just all private. So there's no reason that we need to advertise it any more than we already do.
Doesn't fit into the definition of tourism as such. You know, what tourism, they're looking for people that are going to come here for 1, 2, or 3 days that would normally not be coming here. And as we said earlier, we just don't have the support systems in place.
Okay, did you want to go on to your next topic, which is the Albert Beach development? Brief update on that.
I reached out to Mitch Poirier, sent him an email. He was in Phoenix. He got back late last night and we had a conversation. With respect to the future development of the land immediately to the west of Safi's store, all of the documents were filed with the province on December 10th. Typically, they take 30 days to review. Each of the departments of the province will look at the ideas being put forward and raise concerns. When those concerns come back, they'll be discussed at the council level to determine how concerns that the province might have would then be remedied. Little concerned that process will likely be extended beyond the 30 days given the fact we're over the Christmas season. But
Thanks very much. All right, be it resolved that November 2018 committee reports be accepted as presented. Mover and seconder, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Graham, do you want to add community futures?
Very briefly.
Sure.
I don't want to run over time here. I was sent as the RMVB delegate, so I have a responsibility to report. So I'll make it very brief. December 7th, all day, series of meetings, board meeting, annual planning, orientation of new board members for the Community Futures Winnipeg River, CFWR. They had their large forum here that VB hosted. I won't get into the details, who they are, what they do. Fortunately, they're not hung up on tourism, or we wouldn't really have very much in common with them. But they are there to do things to encourage businesses. What twigged me, we don't have a lot of private businesses within RMVB, but they do have things to offer to help to enhance or grow existing businesses. To the extent that we might have interest as a municipality in the range of services that they offer, council may agree to allow them to appear as a delegation at some future date. I go there, I attend the meetings, it's good networking. It involves 8 other municipalities. It's a pretty good bunch, and I think we're well served by participating within that group. And that's my report. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, you can sign that now. Moved by Councillor Axworthy, seconded by Councillor Bartmanovich. Be it resolved, the November 18th committee reports be accepted as presented. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to accounts and finances. Be it resolved that the following list of accounts be approved for payment. Accounts payable, check 6992 to 7035 in the amount of $73,357.38. December 14th payroll in the amount of $21,299.92. And December 17th fire payroll in the amount of $15,305. Erwin, would you like to? Moved by Councillor Kumka, seconded by Councillor Randall, that the following list of accounts be approved for payment as mentioned previously. Any comments or concerns? Erwin?
Raymond, that payment to Chabot, is that the final payment? Minus the holdbacks? Okay.
That's the payment to Chabot for everybody at home. You didn't have the mic up to your...
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've reviewed the list, and they appear to be in order.
Okay, great, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to business arising from the previous meeting. VB Office Coordinator update. As was mentioned previously, we are conducting interviews later this week for a few applicants, and we were very pleased with the number of applicants who did apply. Hopefully we'll get this position up and running in the new year at the Public Works Building. Mike, did you want to add anything?
Early in the new year.
Okay. Moving on to other business. The 2019 salary schedule, we have a resolution. Be it resolved that the RM of Victoria Beach Council approve the 2019 salary schedule. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? I'll send the next one your way, guys. Moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Be it resolved that the RM of Victoria Beach Council approve the 2019 salary schedule. Any further comments? Discussion? Not really. Not really. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? You're not in favor if the whole salary schedule is what we're dealing with here? Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, carried. Next on the agenda is the 2019 meals and travel policy, which council received. Be it resolved, the RM of Victoria Beach Council approve policy 2019/1 meals travel allowance. So this will come into effect in 2019. May I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Axworthy, seconded by Councillor Bartmanovich. Be it resolved, the RM of Victoria Beach Council approve policy 2019/1 meals and travel allowance. Any discussion? straightforward. This has not been increased since, I would say, 2008. Yeah, so it went up about $5 per meal. We now can get breakfast for $10. All right, I'll call the oh, sorry, Grant, or Erwin, did you have a comment?
Were you going to give us a list of places where we can get breakfast for 10 bucks?
Now that we brought it up to 1959 standards.
The sports club has great breakfasts for under $10 in the summer.
Yeah, but they don't give receipts.
Oh, that's right. The community center, sports club, yeah. All right, so any other comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Question for Steve.
Steve, we have a question for you.
Steve, is the lens cap on the camera? I don't see the
There,
reflection.
there is no lens cap. Lens cap.
All right, getting back to business here. Tangible capital assets policy. We have another resolution on the table. Be it resolved that the arm of Victoria Beach Council approve policy 2018-2/2 tangible capital assets.
Raymond, how is that different from a previous policy?
We don't have one. That's the difference. The auditors require that you have some kind of benchmark as to what you're going to amortize and what you're going to charge as an expense on your annual budget. So what basically this is doing is it's establishing $10,000 as the baseline. So anything we purchase that's under $10,000 will be expensed. It won't be capitalized, because what happens with tangible capital assets is they're amortized over a period of years using a straight line method, and that's a requirement under public sector accounting board rules. So some of these smaller assets, like a riding mower for the parks and repairing the roof on the Moonlight Inn, as an example, is an expense item. It's never a TCA, so it would be
Pretty standard process, a $10,000 limit. Otherwise, you're having to do lots and lots of calculations every year.
This speaks to amortization versus capitalization. This is not affected in any way. This is not affected in any way with the policy that came out earlier this year on types of jobs to get quotes on how many quotes, and the bidding procedure that remains as approved. Okay.
That has nothing to do with tendering. It's strictly to do with how the municipality does its accounting when it involves capital assets, and whether or not they're writing them off as an expense in the first year, or they're writing them off over a period of time. There's a schedule, by the way. We don't do the calculation. It's all digital and electronic, based on a straight line method.
All right, you guys got a little out of order here. Moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Be it resolved that the arm of Victoria Beach Council approve policy 2018/2 tangible capital assets. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to trails system, Steve.
Sherry Dangerfield has been kind enough to do some additional research into some grants that we could go after. She is currently looking for a letter of support from the council for a grant application, and is needed by December 20th. I would be highly in favor of doing this, because it would allow us to essentially hire a designer to do all the brochures, information, and design. It would allow us to basically have something that we can give that's tangible to the residents of the RM. The one catch for the municipality is that at some point, not in this fiscal year, but in the next fiscal year, it would be of great benefit if we were to submit $1,500 for this purpose. So this, although I should also know that this would also go to giving us 4 trailhead signs, which is also something that we're going to need to do in the future. I don't think that I need to go into too much detail on that because I did send this over to council, but I think it is really important to be able to do this, especially that it also just gives us a little bit more information on what's inside of the RM and allows everybody to know where the trails are and how they can best use the resources that we have.
So right now you're asking for a letter of support before the 20th.
Yes.
Preferably tomorrow, the
yeah.
19th.
Yeah, exactly.
The letter of support is for the grant, correct? It's not holding us to a specific amount of money. Oh. We hope to have our budget discussions in January, but that's not going to help you with this. But, okay. Is that something that council could be agreeable to? Let me read the resolution, and we'll do this properly. Be it resolved that the RM of Victoria Beach Council agree to write a letter of support re-grant application by the Victoria Beach Trails Alliance on behalf of the Victoria Beach Community Center. I need a mover and a seconder, please. All right, moved by Councillor Axworthy, seconded by Councillor Bartmanovich. Is there any further discussion or questions? Graham.
This authorizes Raymond to send such a letter.
And Sherry, if you want to get in touch with Raymond tomorrow. But if Sherry does need something to put in this letter about a future contribution, is council, well, I don't know if it's even fair to ask if you're confident or comfortable with the $1,500.
I think it's fair to say if you get the grant, we would be happy to consider the matter.
But I think she needs our consideration prior to is the issue.
And worded exactly that way. If you get the grant.
Yeah. All right. Are you comfortable? We'll make a friendly amendment. Would that work, do you think? Better than nothing? Would you like us to take a collection?
Just one note for the rest of the council is something that we should consider is that at some point we are going to be needing to do trailhead signs across the RM. So not only will this grant be giving us the funds to be able to do for trailhead signs, but it would be saving us money in the long run, or possibly even the short run from having to do those extra signs. This also would help us to move forward in the design of the RM sign so that we can have a standardized trail sign. And the 2,000 or more brochures, yes.
I'll reread the resolution with the amendment. The RM of Victoria Beach Council agrees to write a letter of support, read the grant application by Victoria Beach Trails Alliance on behalf of the Victoria Beach Community Centre. Further be it resolved that Council commit to provide a $1,500 grant to said organization in 2019. Council.
I'd like to add the word subject to receiving the grant.
Friendly amendment number 2. We're amending our amendments.
Well, we're trying to do the best we can right now. Dated no later than tomorrow.
All right, I will read the amendment to the amendment. Further be it resolved that Council commit to provide a $1,500 grant to said organization in 2019, subject to awarding of the grant application. All right. Okay, I will call the question. Are all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to correspondence. Gentlemen, have anything that's jumped out at you?
I have a couple, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, these will be referred forward to our 2019 budget. We have a letter from Resources Center, which you've seen, and a letter from the Senior Scene, which we've seen, and these will be dealt with in due course. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Mike? Steve?
I had a few of them, but one of them was from the Fall Festival of Colors. Do we see benefit from this festival at all?
I'm not sure, but that's something that we can discuss when budget time.
Okay. Yeah, there's that.
There was another one, Courageous Canine Service Dogs.
Yes,
That was also a request for funding.
Yeah, that was the one that I was looking at as well, but I wasn't 100% sure as to what to make of it. So that's the reason why I didn't bring it up.
All right, but those should be discussed, especially the East Beaches Senior Scene and the Resource Center during budget discussions.
Yeah.
For sure.
There was one note that I had on the Boreal Shores art tour. It's been expanding every year, and it's been slowly making its way into RRM. I would like to see if there's some way that we could expand it even further in the municipality and try to really promote it up here. Not for tourism, Erwin, but just for our personal enjoyment of it, because I think that adds quite a bit of value, especially when you get into local artists and supporting them.
Mm-hmm. And then we had a great turnout of local artists here last year. This was only the second year that the Boreal Shores Art Tour has been running, so it's getting larger and better every year.
Yeah, it was 23% of their visitors were from the beaches last year, and then I just had one more. It's from the Research Center. Okay, no, these are other. Yep, I'm good.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. And we are going to move on to question period. Just a reminder that we ask that your questions please be related to items that have been discussed today. We do encourage you to use our e-request system on our website and to send emails to the RM office for other questions and concerns. You can also appear as a delegation for a specific issue, as Kelly Murray did today. But just please advise the office a week in advance and provide some information for discussion. And when you do get up to speak, can you please give us your name and your beach address? And the floor is yours. Going once. Oh, oh, oh boy, it's gonna be a race to the podium.
I am a member of the Festival of Colors. If you want to ask any questions later on or email me, whatever.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Oh, Bruce Morrison.
Bruce Morrison, 32 Sunrise Bay, ROE2CO.
Hello, I'm Gail Green from Victoria Beach. A question about the municipality and sanding. It was glare ice at the post office in the whole field there this morning. Being a walker, you really notice these things, as well as a senior. And the second time I went back to the post office, there was an irate gentleman there who told me that his wife had already fallen that morning, and from now on he just drives right up to the door and blocks everybody out. Yeah, it's just about the sanding. Now, after that gentleman spoke, I went over to the municipal hall just to talk to the guys and say, could they do it? Their lot was worse than even over at the post office. And it's the first time I'd been to that new municipal hall, so I said to push the dot, so I pushed it. It sang me a lovely song, but nobody opened the door, so I have to find out how to get in there as well. But anyway, I just feel they really have to be observant about that. It's so dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with you. I was at Public Works on yesterday, and it was very slippery. Very slippery, yeah. Could we just let the guys know?
Rest assured, they'll know about it in the morning. Thanks, Gail, and sorry about that.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Post office. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Or comments? Or concerns? All right. Moving on then to adjournment. Be it resolved that the December 18th, 2018 regular meeting of council be adjourned. Next regular meeting of council to be held on Tuesday, January 8th at 7 p.m. at the senior scene here in Victoria Beach. A mover and a seconder, please. Our second meeting of January will be in the city.
Discussion on this, Penny?
Sure, just let me move it there. All right, moved by Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Kumka. Be it resolved, the December 18th regular meeting of council be adjourned. Next regular meeting on Tuesday, January 8th, 7 p.m. here at the senior scene. Graham, you had something?
With the order being reversed for the month of January only, what do you want to do with the committee reports? First or second meeting?
Second.
Second? Thank you.
All right, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And once again, everyone, thank you and all the best over the holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.